Welcome to the Universal Talking Podcast. I'm your host, King.
And I'm your host, Aja.
And today, for our second episode of season 3, we're going to be discussing, is he or she worth it?
hmm And I don't mean, and we don't mean just like your time, but worth your entirety, like your entire experience. This topic came about based on a discussion that King and I had after observing a video on Twitter, which is where we're fed a lot of shit. And there was a video of a man losing his damn mind in his girlfriend's apartment. I don't know if she broke up with him or he broke up. I don't know what happened, but they were breaking up. And he was very upset and was like wrecking her apartment. And the entire time she's laughing and recording him losing his mind. And then this video goes viral. Now, this is months and months ago, so I can't pinpoint the video. We got to do better with that and keeping track of the media that we're using for these discussions. But the point was, or at least what King and I were talking about, is just like, how is it even worth it? Like someone making you lose your mind. And I'm just going to say right here and now, the answer is no. No one is worth your sanity. No one is worth your peace of mind. Now, in relationships, we're going to talk about what is a relationship, because I often think people don't truly understand that part, that a relationship is about two or more people being able to relate to each other, connect to one another. And in order for that to be the case, you've got to be in some sort of harmony, some sort of peace. Relationships do not exist or don't continue in turmoil. So a lot of times people get together because they just want to be, but they do not each have the qualities that can exist together in harmony. And rather than decide, okay, this is not a good relationship because we're not relating, we're not connecting, we're not getting along, somebody is constantly disappointed in what's happening, rather than saying that it's time for us to go, these two people often stay together just because they want to be together. And that's not a relationship. That's just hell, in my opinion. So, for one, I think people have trouble with the idea of a relationship. Then let's move specifically into toxic relationships or environments. And before I get into that, I want to say something. And I think that King will agree on this, that there are very extreme cases. To me, that video was an extreme case. It was like one or two steps away from something very violent taking place between them. It was already violent in the sense that he was violently tearing up her apartment. He did not turn on her at that time. Maybe he would have, maybe he might not have. He might have chosen to leave. But sometimes these cases become so out of control that someone gets hurt or both people get hurt. So let's just take a moment to reflect that not all toxic situations are things that we can talk about and it be a light conversation. Sometimes it gets very deadly. Um, Domestic violence is a serious thing. But in talking about toxic relationships, I think people who are in them often think of the other person as being the person who's toxic, right? Like they're like, that person has toxic qualities, and not realizing that they themselves could be the toxic person, or it's the combination that's making it toxic.
Yeah, I
You
agree
could
with
be,
that.
yeah, you could
I
be
agree with that.
two cool people. But you, again, going back to that relationship, the act, like what a relationship is. If you do not have the ability to connect, to have some sort of understanding and relate to one another, that can be a bad mix. You could have two solvents that on their own are perfectly fine, but you put those two things together, it combusts, right? Individually, they do just fine. You put them in a pot together, the whole thing explodes. So when I think about some relationships, we have two people who are fine on their own and get together and they explode. And I'm saying all this to say that if anybody that you get with makes you want to explode, and I have an example that I may share um, from my past, but I was with someone who made my blood boil. I mean, like, I felt physical, like, I just felt like I was going to clobber him. And I'll never forget, I was in college, we were on the phone, and I recognized that this was like the third conversation we had where he was on my fucking nerves. And I don't mean like just it's a bad day. I mean, I could not stand his voice. Everything he was saying was aggravating to me. And I felt like my blood pressure was up. And I said to him very calmly, we can't be together no more. He asked why. And I said, you make me upset. I'm just upset all the time when I'm talking to you lately. And I can't do this. Like, I cannot lose my peace. And I'm in college at this time, knowing that I'm not going to be with someone who disrupts my peace in that way. So, is it worth it? Is it ever worth the aggravation and trouble to be with someone who's going to disrupt your peace and make you lose your mind? Absolutely not. Nope.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this. I'm actually not going to tell any stories from what I've been researching or anything like that. I'm actually going to go into my life on this one. Uh, yeah, it's enough time that's passed in order for me to start telling this story. Some people might know it, some people might not know it, but I'll go ahead and talk about it. So, is he or she worth it? No, I'm not worth the crazy shit that you wanted to do to me. I'm not worth the crazy shit that you even think about doing to me. I know that I do a lot of shit in my past. I know that I've done a lot of shit to the point where I've come home, I left home, locked my house all the way up, and then I come home the next morning and I find knives in my bed because I was out doing whatever I was doing. I'm not worth that shit. You shouldn't be breaking into my house ready to kill me and whoever you might have caught me with because you are so obsessed over what I'm doing and what I might not be doing. And if you catch me, the knives wouldn't have been left in the bed. I'm not worth that right there. I'm also not worth you wanting to run me over with your car because I won't let you in my house. Because yeah, I got somebody else in here with me. We not together. This is no longer a place that you could just come and go when you want to come and go. You shouldn't want to run me over with your car because of that. So no, I'm not worth that right there. But the breakup sex is so motherfucking good though. The breakup sex is worth it. The breakup sex is absolutely worth it. See, makeup sex is cool, but makeup sex don't have nothing at all to do with breakup sex. I know that I was driving her crazy out of her mind, and she's shown and proved it time and time again. I'm talking about we leaving the club and all four of my brand new tires are slashed because I was talking shit about her and all of that. But that's what I do. Once you get me there, then it's just gonna be what it's gonna be, and I'm willing to pay the price for that. So yeah, we had some crazy times. I couldn't be mad at her though because I knew what I was doing to push her to those edges. I wouldn't have stopped it. I wouldn't change it if I could because again, the breakup sex was incredible. Yeah, we might not have belonged together. Yeah, her driving
Clearly.
up to my job and blocking off my car so I couldn't get away from the premises because I hung up on her, and she don't know who the fuck I thought I was by hanging up on her. So she was gonna block my car in and force me to talk to her. Yeah, that might have been a little bit too much. But when I know the breakup sex that's gonna come behind all of that is gonna be better than the previous breakup sex sessions that we had, I'm willing to do all of this right here. I know that she might have took me to court a few times just to prove the point about how motherfucking insane she was. I know she might have did that. And I know that they told me to stay away. But they ain't had this makeup sex that me and her been having. So yeah, this might be a little bit too toxic for normal people. But you talking about two people that obviously just didn't care about how bad the consequences would be. And at the end of the day, I'm still here to tell the stories about it. There was some rough times. I gotta admit, it was some very rough times when my people didn't think that I was gonna live to survive this particular time when these things were happening. And to be honest with you, I damn sure didn't think I was gonna survive it. But I keep saying this for a reason. I'm not encouraging anybody to have toxic situations just so they can have breakup sex. But if you just so happen to find yourself in a toxic situation, make sure you take full advantage of the breakup sex because the breakup sex should be worth all the toxicness that you have been experiencing with this motherfucking psycho that's in your life. All right. Now, I got to admit, there was a time when I had to get into my crazy bag also because I'm sitting at work having myself a good time. You know, I'm on Twitter all day, every day, enjoying myself, telling whatever story I might just so happen to be telling at the time. And I happen to catch her having exchange with some guy at the time. And this exchange looked a little bit too personal. And now I'm looking around trying to figure out who the fuck she thinks she playing with. So now I leave work. I'm doing 75 and a 45 trying to rush down there to see what the fuck she got going on because now she got me acting crazy and shit. And then I get there and she the only one that's there. Now, I know for a fact that this little ass girl was doing something. I know it for a fact, but I can't prove it. So I'm looking at her in her eyes and she looking me right back in my eyes and asking me, what's my problem? And I just got to shut the fuck up because I can't prove nothing.
Mm,
It's just all a bunch of crazy shit.
it is.
Was it worth it? Probably not. But because I'm me and I like chaos, scratch that. I'm wrong. I'm lying. I absolutely love chaos. Because I love chaos, for me, it was worth it. But when it gets to the point of the guy being outside your home or the woman being outside your home, screaming out at the top of their lungs just because they can't see you or talk to you, that's a little bit too far right there. Might be a lot of bit too far. That just might be a lot of bit too far because you might have to be in fear of your life because this person sounds absolutely insane. When they start cutting themselves because they feel whatever type of hurt they feel at that moment, you can only wonder what are they going to do to you if they had access to you as the person who brought that hurt onto them.
Mm-hmm.
If you happen to be one of those people that can't take that type of hurt, because we all put ourselves at risk when we get into relationships, you shouldn't be in a relationship to begin with because
Mm-hmm.
there's no guarantee whatsoever that this person is willing to be with you the way that you're willing to be with them. Some people might only be in it for the toxic shit and the breakup sex. Other people
Right.
might be in it for the forever and always. And then when you match yourself up with somebody that's not also there for the forever and always, you might start discovering things about yourself that you never knew existed because this person that you love so much is now walking out of your life, whether figuratively or literally, and you can't handle it. That don't mean that you take it out on them though. I would say pick up the phone and call somebody that's close to you and have them talk you off the edge. We don't encourage certain vices on the show, But if the vices are what's going to help you get into that calm space and not harm yourself and or that person who hurt you, maybe the vices are what's going to have to do in this particular situation, because nobody deserves to lose their lives just because they can't take being in a relationship with you anymore. Everybody has the right to change their mind. Everybody has the right to walk away at any point. You have to give them that freedom, and you also have to give yourself that option to choose to walk away. And if you are now this crazy person that they never saw in the beginning, of course, because in the beginning everybody's great, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
If you are this crazy person now that we've broken up, they made the right decision about walking away from you. They saw
Mm-hmm.
something that they knew that they just no longer wanted to be a part of.
I agree. That
You
was
agree
really
with the
good.
breakup sex?
What'd you say?
You agree with the breakup sex and me coming out with all four of my
No,
new
I'm
tracks?
not. Well,
Okay.
listen,
All right.
I'm just not going to address the breakup sex, but
It was a phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
it was a phenomenal
I'm
story
talking
as
about we
well.
was so crazy. We would sit in court side by side together and wait for them to call our name and tell them, "Nah, we ain't doing shit. We out of here." That's how crazy we was. It's good times. It was real good times.
I'm glad it was good times for you. Something you said was so important, and that is that some people are in it for the toxic behavior, the chaos, the hurt, the pain, just the confusion. Some people play games, and we've talked about that on this show. We've talked about it in our last episode where um, some people just thrive in that confusion. It's just what they're about. And if you're someone who is requiring something different in order to feel stable, secure, balanced, or whatever, and the person that you're with either isn't taking the relationship seriously or themselves or you, or they're just doing their thing and it's just not a compatibility thing for you. It's not working because, again, relationships are about two or more people being able to relate with one another. And if you're not relating to this person and this person is thriving in the chaos and you can't keep up with that and it's bothering you, then it's really your own personal job to say, this isn't a good environment for me and I leave. Like, you leave from that. Stop doing the self-infliction of trying to get this person to stay or be different, because I think oftentimes that's what we're looking for, this person to be different or be who they were in the very beginning when they weren't fully comfortable sharing who they were. I think we hold that against people, that they're not exactly who they were in the beginning. Nobody is exactly who they were in the beginning, because every single day we're changing. Every single moment we change. Every single moment we change. We are never the same. We're always moving towards something else. And if you are the same person you were 5 years ago, like, I don't want to be with you if you're the same person that you were 5 years ago. But when you're with someone and you're both changing and you're not changing in the same direction, that's where conflict comes in. We're not changing in ways that complement one another. We're not choosing to learn each other as we change. We're not choosing to go on this journey together anymore. Or the journey that this person's going on is disruptive to my own life. I've got to decide I need out, because another key thing that you said is that I have a right to, and so does he. He has a right to say that as much as I love you, I can't be with you anymore. Either because his value system has changed, his expectations, what he needs has changed. And the only thing that I feel is the right, like, I'll put it this way, even in saying that, if we're in a relationship the right thing would be for him or her to communicate as they're deciding that this isn't working,
Yeah, I agree with that.
to
Wait, but
communicate
if you're in a relationship,
if you're
I
in a
had
relationship.
situations where we weren't in no relationship, and they thought I owed them the right to communicate that I don't even want to entertain the possibilities and conversations of a relationship no more. We're not. If you're not in a relationship, you are owed nothing, and I'm
Right.
like serious about that one.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you get when you get it when you're
Mm-hmm.
not in that relationship. But like I just said, yeah, if you were in that relationship, or even if you're in the marriage,
Especially in the marriage.
that communication has to happen. It's nothing but a conversation saying, "Hey, this is how I feel now," and I think, however you're going to word it, but I think we should end it. I'm no longer in it the way I was before. Express that you've changed how you feel about it, though. I agree with you.
One of the things that I can say about marriage is this, and it doesn't work for everybody, and it obviously doesn't, because there's a lot of people that don't stay married, not for long or not, after years. But I've said this to people before, that how do you stay in a marriage? Like, the question is, how do you stay in a marriage and truly actually be like at peace with this person and happy? And by definition of happy, I don't mean like every single day we smiling and we like giddy, like, you are in the very beginning, because there's that infatuation stage. I mean, like, truly at peace with one another and cool with one another. And maybe you have those infatuation days, and maybe you just have the days where you just cool and y'all just, maybe y'all gonna fuck later. But I'm saying, like, you don't gotta be all over each other. But how do you maintain that type of thing forever and always with someone when you're constantly changing, like I just said? And the answer to that is, as long as this person is someone you want to still be with as you change, you bring them into your changes. Meaning, if I'm reading a book and this book has an influence on my life, and I'm getting ready to go on this journey where I'm exploring all these different things, this is bound to be like major change for me, right? Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, whatever. So, my partner, if I don't say to my partner, I'm thinking of going on this journey that I'm learning in this book, if I don't say that to him, then I'm not bringing him along. I'm deciding that I'm going to change on my own, and he is not a part of it. Part of helping him be a part of my changes, and not that he's got to change in the same way, but he's aware of what's happening with me, right? Because I've said it. I'm saying, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm studying. And because he wants to be with me forever and always, he will ask questions. Oh, okay, so how's that going? Maybe like weeks later, like, you know, how's that going? Like, are you studying anything else? Like, continuing to stay in touch with each other as you're living your lives. And I often think that people fall apart because they've decided not to continue to talk to each other, communicate about the changes and the influences that are coming into their lives. They've made a decision to not stay together at that point, and they don't even realize it. So then once they're majorly changed, this person doesn't even know who you are, because you've been changing, but you haven't been saying anything to them. And they've not had an opportunity to, I don't know, welcome that, be a part of that. And then the same thing that you're going through, your partner is going through. Nobody stays the same. But when you have someone that you want to spend a lifetime with, you bring them along with you on your journey, so that as you change, they're aware of your change, they're embracing your change, they're helping you with change, and you're doing the same thing with them.
I like that a lot. The
It is really,
with you, I like that a lot.
it's the only way. I mean, I don't I'm not saying I have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, even though sometimes I sound like I do. It's not that. I'm just saying I know this for a fact is like one of the key things that keeps people like together. And whether that's a marriage or whether that's a partnership, but you got to communicate through all of it, because marriage isn't like we going to do this for 2 years and then I don't like you no more and I'm just going to come to you and say I don't like you no more.
Communicate and be willing to grow.
You
Because yeah, I might have absolutely loved you as you were when we met, however long ago it was when we met. But as I grow, now I need to love a new you because I'm new also, and hopefully you love the new me as well, the way that I am. So yeah, I'm fully with you on the communicate part, but I'm also gonna add in be willing to grow together with each other, because that's part of the purpose of being in a relationship. Also, nobody wants to be in a relationship to stay exactly as they are when they first met. They want to get with a partner so them and the partner can grow and be more than what they were
mm-hmm,
when they first got together, before they got together, when they were together for the first year, the second year. We're always looking to elevate. That's the
mm-hmm,
purpose of us living and waking up.
mm-hmm.
Elevate to higher levels. And when you find that person that you can elevate with, it can only be a beautiful thing.
I'm with you on that.
Now, part of that elevation could be the breakup sex, though. I mean, I
Whatever.
might not have ever discovered the breakup sex if I didn't have the perfect partner to have the great, amazing, phenomenal, out of this world breakup sex that existed. And the reason that the breakup sex was great because I didn't know if she was going to kill me before the breakup sex or after the breakup sex. So I was going to get all I could get out of this right here. And she probably didn't know if she was going to kill me right after the breakup sex either. So she brung all that she could bring into that session just in case it was going to be the last breakup sex session that we was going to have. And it was great.
I'm not going to say that in relationships you're not going to have moments where you are within like some sort of disagreement and it gets heated, especially when you have passionate people. Um, being a passionate person, um, I know that I can get very intense about the things that I care about, the things that I love, things that I invest myself in. And being with someone who is equally passionate can be explosive if we're in disagreement about those things, like those things. Like it can be explosive. But learning how to talk through experiences and not being cruel to one another, I think that is just, I've seen people argue. I've seen people who are in arguments and they're hurting each other in the argument.
Her
Like
verbally or physically?
both, but
Okay.
verbally, I think people don't understand that part, that just because you are disagreeing with someone does not mean that you need to get to the point where you're name calling
Mm-hmm.
and saying fuck you motherfucker, like whoa, you know if someone says that to me, like that to me is the things that you say to someone on the street when you getting ready, like something's getting ready to pop off. Fuck you motherfucker. And I had someone upset at me one time and that's what they said, and I was like, oh, you know what, time for me to go, because either I'm staying and we get ready to go at it. I mean, somebody's going to die in this because you
Yeah.
don't talk to me like that. No one talks to me like that. So, especially my partner, if my partner is so angry with me that they're calling me a motherfucker or calling me a bitch, then I'm to the point where I'm calling him a nigga, excuse me, or whatever. Like, and I mean in anger,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
not playful,
Yeah.
anything.
You ain't. It ain't like you called him a big dick nigga or nothing like that.
Right. I
Yeah.
didn't say
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you
Like
over
you
here
ain't call him
being
no
a big.
long dick slinging nigga. Nothing like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
got
Not that. Not that. I'm saying ugliness.
Yeah.
when we get upset. When that ugly comes, it's a sign respect
It's
is
a sign to
gone.
walk away.
It is a sign
Just
to
walk
walk
away.
away, but it's also, even in the walking away, I know right then and there we aren't. We aren't anymore, because you lost your respect. You lost your respect in a disagreement. And I'm telling you, you're always going to have moments of disagreements in a relationship that lasts beyond years. You're going to have disagreements. And if you can't talk to each other in a way that's like respectful of this person, how is that love? How is it love to call me a motherfucker in a fight, in an argument? That's not love. You don't love me no more when you're talking to me like that. And no, I'm done, because I am not being with someone who's talking to me like that. I mean, look, I'm getting worked up about it now because, whoo, you call me a motherfucker. That's it. I am out. You that, and I. That's just. Mm-mm. You don't speak to me in any kind of way. And I'm big on words, because people say they're just words. The words are thoughts. If I'm saying that word to you, I'm thinking this about you. This is what I think of you. And if you're thinking this about me, this is what do you feel about me? And if you feel that about me, what the fuck are we doing? So, no, arguments that turn brutal, even verbally, are a sign that the relationship has fractured. And can those things be repaired? Sure, they can. But most of the time, it's not worth it, which is the point of this discussion. Most of the time, it's not worth it, because it's a sign of so many other bigger problems that this person and these people have. And that also brings me to another point about toxic relationships, and people getting into relationships that shouldn't be, because you mentioned earlier, if you're someone that can't handle the ups and downs that sometimes comes in relationships, where you find that the person that you're with isn't on the same page as you. This person is switching up on you, and now you're like, nearly suicidal, and we're not taking that word lightly.
Mm-hmm.
um or just like unstable, emotionally unstable. If you feel like you can't handle those things, then you shouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
And some people will say, you need to be healed. Two healed people will be better for each other. Okay, unpopular opinion. That's not always the case. That could be bullshit, because healing is from something that has already occurred.
Mm-hmm.
I'm healed from the past. Does that mean that it applies to things that are happening right this moment? No. You could be terrible for me now. I could be healed from some shit that happened 5 years ago. It might have taken me 5 years to get healed from it, but I may be healed from that. And now I'm ready to enter into a relationship with you, and you want some bullshit because you like chaos. And I'm just using that as an example. You like
Yeah, that's fine.
chaos, you
That's
like
fine.
drama. Women sometimes thrive in that. Not
Yeah.
just women, men too.
Mm-hmm.
Men too. But I'm saying people sometimes they thrive in that. They may even be healed. This is just how they like to operate. So we heal, we in a relationship, but you on some shit. And now you
But
bring me.
are they really healed? Because a lot of people put on the front that they've overcome what has happened.
We
They're
talked about that
over
too.
it. They're through it. They are healed. And then when you really get close enough to see what's real and what's not, they aren't healed at all. It was all a front. They were just putting this mask on for whoever's around them to see it, but inside they're still harboring thoughts about it. They're still living it way more than they should be living it, because they've been going around saying that they're healed, but truthfully they are not healed. And only you know if you're healed from the situation or not. So now you got to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest enough with yourself to say I'm not ready to be with anybody else. Not in a relationship. You're going out on dates, that's fine. That's something different. Going having your interactions here and there, that's something different. But committing yourself fully into a relationship with somebody or somebody's, when you know that you are not ready mentally, emotionally, spiritually to give yourself and possibly get hurt in the process of that, you got to be honest and just stay to yourself and take
Yeah.
more time to heal if you're looking to heal.
I would say that a lot of people, like you said, they're not healed because there's constantly and this is another like trigger word, is they're constantly triggered by the things that are happening to them. And those things bring up all the feelings that they have felt before. And then all of a sudden, they're now back into this cycle of feeling like they're in a traumatic situation or needing to be healed. And I would say there are people who are healed and there are people who are not. And then there are people who constantly feel like they need to be healed. Okay. Like anything that disrupts them, now they feel like I need to heal from this thing. But it may not be a situation that you need to be healed from. It just may be a situation that occurred. And when are we going to get to the place where you learn to let go of things so they're not an infliction, like something didn't inflict you with harm because you didn't allow it to? So I look for that in people. I look for that more than I look for the healed part. It's how are you able to handle when I say something you didn't like? Do you now feel like I hurt you? And, especially if I've done it respectfully, if I've done my part to be a good person and a good partner, and you are feeling inflicted by every little thing I do, and this thing wasn't even all that large. It was just like I just didn't want to do what you wanted to do, or I didn't want to go where you wanted to go, or no, I'm not at that level yet with you. Like I'm not ready to commit in this way. But I'm being patient, I'm being kind, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do as a partner, but yet you feel inflicted. Then maybe it's not so much that you even need to be healed. Maybe you need to learn how to cope. You know what I mean? Like some people just don't know how to cope so that they're not always in a state of needing to be healed. And I'm not saying that to judge. This not this We don't have that kind of podcast where we're judging people. I often say things because I want people to think of things. And even as I speak on things, I may be speaking to myself. So there may be something that I can learn from this, as well. But constantly being in a state where someone is always hurting you is a sign that one, either you're not making great decisions for yourself, either by choosing the person or going too deep too fast. Like you said, some people don't need to be in full blown relationships. They need to just exist in friendships. And that's even if they can manage that. But
Yeah, because a lot of people get attached to those friendships.
that was the thing that I was thinking when you said maybe they just need to, not get too serious and just start off like in this slow, seeing each other dating phase. Some people are not ready for any of it. They can't
Yeah,
do
I
any
agree.
of it because they like this person too fast. This person, when you meet someone and they have the ability to make you feel good, that's euphoric. They make you laugh. You want to spend time with them. You want to hear from them all the time because that's euphoria. You know what I mean? Like your brain is getting dopamine from these conversations and this interaction, and you want to keep going in that. And now you want a relationship. And you haven't even seen this person during a challenging time. You haven't even seen this person, like I said, inflict something that you would consider harmful. You haven't even seen how they react, how you will react to them before you've decided to get into something like a relationship with this person. People are doing this every single day, getting their feelings hurt. And oftentimes they are hurting their own feelings. Now, I'm saying all of that to say, even with all of that said, sometimes we're with someone, we've made bad decisions to be with someone, or we made the right decision to be with someone, whatever the case may be. And somehow something goes wrong. And in that argument and in that discussion that you have, some names get thrown out, some bitches, some motherfuckers, some niggas, and things are thrown, and you feel like you're losing your mind, your ability to be able to think rationally. So when I say losing your mind, I'm not making fun of people who have mental illness that is separate from this particular situation. I'm saying you have lost your ability to think rationally on multiple occasions because of some actions that have taken place with this person. And maybe that leads you to be physically violent or think about choking the shit out of somebody. Or maybe you're with someone and that's what they're doing, or they're harming your things. I mean, trust me, anytime somebody gets angry enough where they're starting to tear your things up, you could be next. There is no other direction from that. That's already going too far. It's too far. It's a bad sign.
Yeah,
Go.
it's only a matter of time that you will be next in that situation.
Right, because they want to hurt you. That's why they're hurting your things. They want to hurt you, but something is keeping them from touching you. So they touch your things that matter to you. They just start fucking that stuff up. And at some point, that won't be enough. You will be the one. So why wait around and wait to see how far this thing is going to go just because he got a big dick? What was it in Disappearing Acts? Um, Sanaa Lathan and Wesley
And Wesley
Snipes,
Snipes,
and his ex-wife says to him, "Girl, the dick ain't worth all the trouble." Right? Oftentimes we believe that it is because it feels so damn good. It does. It feels wonderful.
I mean, it's like, but like we said last week, that ain't the only big dick. If big dick is what she's into, that's not the only big dick out here in the world. And we're not telling him to go sleep with a bunch of women to find what he's looking for. And we're not telling her to sleep with a bunch of men to find what she's looking for. But if big dick is what she's into, she could find more classified, more qualified big dick that will fit into her life without the bullshit.
I think that women will tell you um, that there aren't that many big dicks attached to non toxic experiences. A lot of women feel this way. Their experience um, is that big dig is often attached to a problem. And so they kind of deal with it, deal with men who either are jobless or, living with their parents or something, like an ex or their baby mama or whatever, have a ton of children and lacks the ability to commit, like all these like red flags. And just to date this podcast, currently there is the meme that's going on with all the dang on red flags in the whole wide world being posted everywhere on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. So, like you get men who have all these red flags, but he has a big dick and can use it. And women often deal with that because they find that the good guy often does not have the ability to do all the things that the big dick can.
But is he treating her like a lady though?
He is not.
Because I would think that treating a woman like a lady overrides the big dick.
All right, let me just say something. I gotta say something for
Go
these
ahead.
women on behalf of the women everywhere.
Go ahead.
You are blessed when you find a man that loves you, adores you, just takes care of you, appreciates everything that you do for him, and has a big dick that he knows how to use, and all the bells and the whistles. You are blessed. It is a wonderful thing. And it is out there, ladies. I'm looking directly into the camera. It is out there. I know it doesn't seem like it right now. However, we put up with it because no king, a guy that treats you like you're a woman and a lady and all that good thing, it just isn't enough if his dick is little. It's just not enough. It is the most
But
frustrating.
didn't we say in season one, episode one ish, that if she got the guy that does everything else good, but he just can't deliver the dick the way she needs that part. Didn't we say back then that maybe she need, well, we probably didn't say maybe back then, but I'm gonna say maybe this time. Maybe she need to keep the good guy around and let him do all the good guy shit that he does because that's what she needs in her life. But maybe she need to consider having some dick on the side just to fulfill that part. Because Lil Dick obviously ain't touching the right things inside of her that need to be touched.
He ain't touching shit. He can't feel
Yeah,
the
I
walls.
mean, he ain't pinning her legs back behind her head
He
and
ain't
wearing her
doing it.
all the way out. He ain't doing enough of that part. We
Mm-mm.
understand that part,
Yeah.
but that might not be what she needs on a daily basis. She just might need to get worn all the way out once or twice a month. And in that case, just consider, at least consider it. Don't automatically brush off what we're saying right here. At least consider having big dick as an option outside of little dick as your main person that you are with day in and day out. Because little dick might present a whole bunch of everything that you've ever wanted outside of the big dick. Is that worth kicking little dick to the curb for? Especially when I listen to Aja say that it is hard for women to find big dick attached to a good man.
Mm.
Sometimes you just got to take what you can get.
I'm not a fan of taking what you can get. Only because at some point you're unhappy, like you're dissatisfied, you know, because we want the big dick to be the good guy. And he's not, because he's either single and just fucking whatever, or he's married and he's fucking you. And if he's single and he's fucking everybody, then you already know that he's not likely to settle down and commit to you. Here you are trying to get him to be a one woman man, and he's not. Then you got the married guy who is married. So he's telling you by being with you, he ain't a good guy because he's screwing you and he has a wife. So now you got two options that really are not going to be permanent solutions. And the good guy that you have that you're just keeping because you want someone to treat you well is either going to figure out that he's just being used for being the good guy, or you're just going to be so displeased because, see, your Jody, your dick, isn't always a permanent situation. The married guy may have to end things. Okay. The guy that got the multiple women that you want to try to get to settle down with you is eventually going to say, you're doing too much. You're expecting too much. I need you to play your role, which is just be in part of the rotation, not be my woman. Okay. So there's going to be disappointment there. Not all the time. You know, you got some situations that could last years where he's just the cleanup man and he takes care of over years, because in those cases, the women know how to play the role. But if you do not know how to play your role with those two guys, they are going to find a way to move you out of their situation because you're asking for too much and they don't have it for you. And there's someone else that's going to be more happy with what they're given. So now you're back to just having the good guy with the little dick. And you feel like, okay, I can maybe put up with this. If I maybe I close my eyes and I close my legs real tight, it might feel like it's much bigger. It won't. It's not. It's never going to feel bigger because it's not there. You can't make something that's just not there appear. So you're going to be unhappy. So, yes, I know in the first season, first episode, we talked about the possibilities of having multiple partners where one is handling the physical needs that you have, and this other partner is handling the emotional needs that you have and spending time with you. But the reality is, most women don't want to have the multiple partners. They want the one. That's what they want. They want one, and they
Then
want
stay
most.
single and fuck big dick.
What you say?
Then stay single, fuck big dick, and everything is good at that point.
That's not what a lot of women want. A lot of women don't want to stay single. They want to get married or they want to have a lifelong partner, and they want that person to be their baby daddy, and they want to live in a house together, and they want to have maybe a cute little dog, and they want him to like spoil her and take her places and do all this
Then she
stuff.
gotta wait. She gotta wait until that person come along. I,
She
everything is
does have
sports
to
for me.
wait. If she
Everything is sports for me. Every draft class don't have a franchise quarterback in it, so you might have to wait 6 or 7 draft classes to get your big dick. That also, I'm getting feedback for some reason. But yeah, you might have to wait 6 or 7 draft classes to get your big dick. That's also attached to a good man that can pay his bills and take you out and get your nails done, get your toes done, if that's what you're trying to do with him or whatever the case might be. You might have to wait 6 or 7 draft classes in order to get to that point. Don't rush the process then.
Some women wait a lifetime and then they waste their entire youthfulness away
And they're drafting.
because,
And I'm not judging them at all, but then they are drafting wrong.
well, I don't have any, I don't have any input on that one. And I'm gonna just say it because I've never had that trouble. It's not my life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I tend to speak from places that I know.
You should have been reading Machiavelli the Prince, and you would know. You would have some research to go off of.
Yeah, I didn't have no problem. Like, I found my one,
Mhm.
and I found what I want, and I have what I need. I have everything I need. But I know that a lot of women do not, and I think they often think it's all guys. It's the guys that don't recognize their worth, and this is why they're in this predicament. But oftentimes it's their decisions that leave them in that place because they keep deciding to be with people that won't take them into the future of whatever it is they want, whatever their expectations are. They say in anything that you want, look at all the decisions that you're making day to day. Is it going to lead you to that thing? Right? Is that if is what you're doing right now going to get you to the goal that you have in mind? Or are you going to be spinning round and round with this person? Is this person the person that you take into your future? I know that you can be in relationships for a good time, which I like that idea. I like the idea of being in relationships for a good time, and if it happens to evolve into something, then that let it be that. But I also know that people have goals in marriages and relationships. And if you're into getting married, like creating a merger that you either because you want to be married or because you want to have children, those are things now that you got to like work for if it's not happening organically. And are you choosing a partner that is actually going to be a good partner for those things? And I don't mean whether they're physically capable of getting with you or physically capable of impregnating you or carrying your child, whatever the case may be. But like long term, having a baby isn't having a baby. Like having, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of work involved in this after that moment.
Yeah.
So is this person going to be the good person for all the future things that come from that decision? Or is this person going to be a good partner beyond the wedding date? Is this person going to be someone that you can see you spending your life with and getting into disagreements with? Because like I said, if they're fighting with you and they calling you a motherfucker, they calling you all kinds of names and stuff, this is not the person that you want to be in a relationship with long term.
If
Because
that's not
that's,
what you're into, because some people are into that.
some people are into that. Yeah, some people, yeah, some people are into that, but I would say most people aren't
Mhm.
into those types of, toxic, hurtful, harmful disagreements. If you can't keep your head when you are in a disagreement, then this is not the person to take into your future with you. And so, just to tie it up, unless there was something else you wanted to say,
Nah, we good.
the answer is going to be a no from me, that it's not worth it. It is not worth your peace of mind, your peace of heart. It is not worth you giving your spirit over to someone who is disrupting your life, who is violent. It is not attractive. No, I don't care what social media will have you believe, that a man is like, because he's so intense and whatever over you, that this is a good sign, and it's never like a positive thing for a woman to be like that either. I mean, minus King's story with which is a fascinating story, but again, it's a sign that this person may be good for right now, fun for right now. But beyond this right now, is this someone that you would want to work through experiences with? Because they cannot cope very well. Obviously, they don't know how to deal, showing up at your place when you, like, unexpectedly and without invitation is
Without
not a
some
good sign.
a fucking plate of food. That's the part that's really was the problem. It wasn't no good food in this situation.
We talked about that just last episode.
I'm talking about it again because now I'm pissed off again. Bullshit she was feeding me.
So yeah, no, it's not a good situation. It's not worth it. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to get really serious, before we end
Before
this.
you go there though, let me just say for the record, even when the breakup sex was great, it still isn't worth it in the long run. Even the great breakup sex has its expiration date. Nothing is worth the peace and sanity of your own mind and your own life. If we're in this to have fun, then let's have fun.
Mhm.
If we're in this to have fun and the fun stops, then let's just stop. At
Mhm.
some point, it has to end. If we aren't good for each other, at some point we have to end. And it's a we thing. Because yeah, you might think that you're the good one in the situation, but it's something about you that's bringing out this crazy in them. if
Yep.
if you're trying to stay in the crazy with the crazy person, you gotta know it's something about you that is just as crazy as this crazy person outside of your door, cutting themselves, screaming at the top of their lungs. You got some issues also. Finding entertainment in this because there's nothing funny at all about the possibility of you losing your life just because someone is hurt and heartbroken over no longer being able to have access to you. So the answer is no from both myself and from Aja. No, it's not worth it.
Not worth it. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're with someone and they're doing these types of things that King's talking about without the humor, you know what I mean? Like it's just going too far. This person is scaring you. You need to seek help. and in domestic situations, without me getting too deep into it, people will often say just leave, and that's not always the easiest solution because your life is tied up with this person, and it may not be as simple as just leaving because you don't have a safe situation to go to. So I won't just say just leave, but you should be thinking of a plan, an exit to leave, because this isn't going to get better. If you're living together with someone and this has happened, that's like the most dangerous part of that is if you're living with someone who's going this direction, your life is tied up. This person can get their hands around your neck, and that could be it. And I'm praying for you if that's your situation, but also I need you to see someone, talk to someone, get some sort of help. We will not make a joke about domestic violence. So, if that's the case, that's beyond toxic behavior. That is domestic violence, and you need to seek help. Please do, and talk to someone about it. Don't keep it a secret because you're ashamed of the situation you're in. But if it's on a milder level where it's just, disruptive to your peace of mind and heart and your spirit, it's time to walk away. You got to walk away because no, it's not worth it. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode 2. We'll be back next week with something, who knows what it'll be. But we appreciate you listening in.